After telling her I didn't agree with her plan to stay at her ex's place, she called me weak. I didn't argue. I just left her things outside her apartment with a note. No, you were right. You're strong and independent. My ex is now desperately looking for a place to live. Turns out her so-called independence didn't include a backup plan. She burned every bridge she had. A couple of weeks ago, she was posting quotes about how strong women don't need weak men. Today, she's forced to hunt for an affordable apartment she can cover with her part-time digital marketing salary. I'm 32 and operations manager at a manufacturing company, earning about $85,000 a year. I dated Laura, 28, for about 10 months, though she kept her small rented studio. Over time, she started staying at my place more often, eventually spending 5 nights a week there. She brought clothes, toiletries, everything, but kept paying her rent just in case. From the start, Laura was clear. No man would control her. In theory, I was fine with that. Independence doesn't bother me. The problem was, over time, I realized her independence was more about constantly setting boundaries while ignoring mine. It started with small things. She'd make plans without mentioning them, and if I asked, she'd accuse me of being possessive. She'd go out with guy friends, and if I ever asked how the night went, she'd get defensive. I don't have to report everything I do. I wasn't asking for a daily log, just basic courtesy. 3 months ago, her ex, Mateo, moved back to town. They dated for 2 years in college and, according to her, were still great friends with no lingering feelings, just mature adults maintaining a sincere friendship. It wasn't ideal, but I accepted it with the condition of clear boundaries. What I saw as reasonable limits, she saw as restrictions. They started texting daily, going to lunch, talking on the phone for hours about their lives, work, everything. When I mentioned it made me uncomfortable, she lectured me about trust. If you can't handle me having male friends, you're not ready for a real relationship. I held back, gave her space, thought maybe she was right, that I needed to trust more. But something felt off there. Friendship had a tone that didn't seem normal. The breaking point came 2 weeks ago when she casually mentioned she was going to a music festival that weekend. Sounds fun, I said. When are we going? Her response, you're not. It's a plan I made with Mateo months ago. I stared at her. You're spending the weekend at a festival with your ex, she replied. I'm going with my friend. Our past relationship doesn't change anything. I asked, where are you staying? She said, at a cabin his family has near the venue, as if it was no big deal. I realized my girlfriend was planning to spend the weekend in a romantic cabin with her ex, enjoying a festival. I'm not okay with this, Laura, I said firmly. That's when she exploded. I knew it. I knew you'd try to control me. This is exactly the kind of insecurity that ruins relationships. I tried to stay calm. It wasn't about control, it was about respect. I told her, wanting my partner not to spend romantic weekends with her ex isn't insecurity, it's having principles. Call it standards, jealousy, whatever you want. She said, label it what you want, but I'm going anyway. I won't let your fears dictate how I live my life. I replied, then we have a problem. She shot back, no, you have a problem. I'm a strong, independent woman. I don't need a man's approval to live my life. That night she posted on Instagram, a man who can't handle a strong woman isn't a man. Below it, a string of motivational quotes about not letting anyone dim your light. Her friends showered it with likes and comments. Yes, queen, don't let him control you. You're worth so much more. I screenshotted the whole post. The next morning, Laura packed her bag for the weekend. Before leaving, she said, I hope you use this time to reflect on whether you really want to be with someone who trusts and respects me. She kissed my cheek like nothing was wrong and added, I love you. Try not to be jealous while I'm gone. That Friday, I spent the day thinking about what she'd done and said. The public post mocking me for having boundaries was the final straw. That night, I texted her, when you get back Sunday, we need to talk about our relationship. Her reply, fine, hopefully you'll be over it by then. Update Saturday morning, I decided to end it. I gathered all of Laura's things she'd left at my apartment, clothes, toiletries, books, makeup. Though she had her own place, she'd accumulated a lot. I packed everything carefully, sorting it into boxes and bags, and took photos as proof I treated her belongings respectfully. That afternoon, I drove to her building and left everything neatly outside her door. She still had her keys and an active lease, so access wasn't an issue. With the boxes, I left a note. Laura, you were right. Strong, independent women don't need men who can't handle that strength. I respect your independence and your right to make your own choices. Since you showed this weekend you're fine spending time with your ex despite my boundaries and publicly stated I'm not enough for you, it's clear you can handle your personal affairs on your own. Your things are here outside your door. I'm sure you'll move forward just fine. Thanks for showing me the true meaning of self-sufficiency. Sunday night, I changed my relationship status to single and waited. Around 8 p.m., she showed up with her usual bag, expecting everything to be normal. I met her at the door but didn't let her in. We need to talk, I said. Yeah, but not out here, she replied, looking uneasy. What's wrong, Tom? You're acting weird. I said, I thought about what you suggested, and you're right. An independent woman doesn't need a man who can't handle her, so we're moving forward with that. Her face changed. What are you saying? That we're done, I replied. You made it clear this weekend that your ex's feelings matter more than mine, and your post made it even clearer what you think of men who set boundaries. That post wasn't even about you, she said. Oh, really? You posted it hours after we argued about this exact issue. What else could it mean? She admitted. Okay, maybe it was bad timing, but that doesn't mean we should break up. I pulled out my phone and showed her the screenshot. A man who can't handle a strong woman isn't a man. The post was 6 hours old when we'd argued. She looked at it on her phone and said, Fine, maybe I shouldn't have posted it, but we don't need to end things. I told her, your things are at your apartment. I changed the locks. You changed the locks, Tom. This is insane, she said. This is letting a strong woman face life like she claims she can. Where are you supposed to sleep? At your place, the one you kept because you didn't want to depend on anyone. She pleaded, Tom, please, we can work this out. You're upset because it didn't go as planned, not because you cared about what you did. I said, you lost me when you decided to publicly shame me as weak for having principles. I closed the door and didn't look back. Update: the following week, Laura tried everything to get us back together. She called multiple times, left voicemails ranging from anger to pleas to manipulation. You're overreacting. If you let me explain, we can fix this. I can't believe you're throwing away 10 months over one mistake. This is the most immature thing anyone's ever done to me. Some of her friends even messaged me, criticizing me for being controlling and insecure, saying Laura deserved someone who valued her, that real men don't abandon their partners over trivialities. I saved screenshots of all those messages. On Tuesday, she showed up at my workplace at noon. Security alerted me someone was waiting in the lobby. When I saw her, she looked exhausted, messy hair, poorly applied makeup, clearly not sleeping well. Tom, please, we need to talk seriously. This has gone too far, she said. No, it's exactly where it needed to go. I messed up with that post. I was upset and said things without thinking. I replied, you said them when you posted it. You stood by them when your friends agreed in the comments. People say impulsive things when they're hurt, right, and they also face the consequences of what they say publicly. I'm genuinely sorry, Tom. We can try to fix this, she said. Fix what? That you spent a weekend with your ex despite me saying it was okay, then posted that I'm not enough for you. What part do you want to fix now? She said. I get that it was a mistake. I should have respected your feelings. I replied, and you realized that after ignoring them completely and mocking me online for having boundaries. At least you admit you were wrong. She said, yes, I was wrong. I admit it. I told her, great, you can be wrong and single. I can't afford my studio's rent on my part-time salary. I was planning to give it up and move in with you permanently. I said, good thing you kept it then. That proves you're more independent than you thought. Now you can find roommates or move back with your parents. That's what I'll do, she said, her voice breaking. Please don't ruin what we had over one weekend. I replied, it's not just the weekend. I'm ending this for the constant disrespect to our relationship and for publicly mocking me. Security approached, concerned about the conversation, and Laura left shortly after. Final update: 6 weeks later. Things unfolded as you'd expect from someone who talks a big game about independence but doesn't know how to live it. Laura couldn't afford her studio's rent. She'd been counting on moving in with me to cut her housing costs. She tried finding roommates, but her credit history was poor, and her income wasn't enough to split expenses fairly. After 3 weeks, she had to break her lease and move back to her parents' place in the suburbs. All that self-sufficient woman image wasn't as solid in practice. As for the weekend with Mateo, it didn't go anywhere. It was a nostalgic meetup, but he had no intention of pursuing anything serious. Slowly, her friends stopped commenting on her posts about her truth and her process. It's easy to cheer from social media, but much harder to be there when someone actually needs support. Laura tried contacting me several times during the first month, always with the same spiel. She'd learned her lesson, now understood boundaries, wanted to respect the relationship. Her last attempt was a week ago, calling from her parents' house. Tom, I've been thinking about everything. You were right about that weekend. I should have listened to your concerns. I said, She continued, I miss you. I miss what we had. Do you think we could try again? I replied, no. Why not? Because it's not about who was right. It's about your attitude. You chose to disrespect our relationship and attacked my character for having clear boundaries. I was immature. I've changed since then, she said. I'm glad, but grow with someone else. Tom, please, I'm different now. I'm sure you are. Living with your parents at 28 probably changes how you understand independence. That's not fair, she said. Neither was posting that I'm not man enough to handle a strong woman. Too bad I still have screenshots. She deleted the post, but I kept the evidence. She hung up, and I haven't heard from her since. Recently, I started dating someone new. Andrea works full-time in accounting, has her own apartment, and manages her finances independently. The difference is striking and refreshing. When I told her about Laura, her response was perfect. Independence isn't about testing how much mistreatment your partner can take. It's about standing on your own. I didn't need to make Laura pay for anything. I just took her at her word when she claimed to be self-sufficient and gave her the chance to prove it. She wanted to show she didn't need permission to live her life. I simply confirmed she was right, giving her full freedom to live it without me. She thought she could enjoy the benefits of a relationship while mocking her partner's boundaries. Instead, she learned that relationships are built on mutual respect, not one side getting stability while the other gets public humiliation. Her post said it all. A man who can't handle a strong woman isn't a man. She was right. A real man respects a woman's strength enough to let her face the consequences of her own choices. A perfect lesson in what independence really means. Strong enough to ignore your partner's concerns. Strong enough to pay your own rent. Strong enough to publicly mock the one who loves you. Strong enough to find another relationship. Strong enough to prioritize your ex over your current commitment. Strong enough to live without that commitment. Laura got exactly what she claimed to want, total independence from a man who, according to her, wasn't on her level. And the note I left said it all. No, you were strong enough to be alone. Turns out, she wasn't as strong as she boasted on social media.